Hey mamas, you're listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast, the only podcast teaching you how to balance your work, motherhood, and wellness. I am Dr. Amber Thornton, clinical psychologist and mama wellness consultant. Each week we dive into tips and strategies and much more so that you too can become a balanced working mama. Let's dive in. Hey mamas. Welcome to another episode of the Balanced Working Mama podcast. Hope everybody's doing well. I am doing really exceptionally well, thankfully. We are coming off of a very long weekend, and I had 4 days of fun. 2 days were spent with my family. We went apple picking. We had birthday parties for some of C3's friends. We hung out. It was a little exhausting, but it was also fun because I'm realizing in motherhood, one of my favorite things is to make memories with my kids and with my husband. And so, doing all those things really bring me so much joy and make me tired. So luckily, I had 2 days off because I work for a school, y'all. So y'all know I got a really good school schedule, meaning I get all the holidays. And so I was off on Friday and then also Monday. And so it was so nice. Friday, I still sent my babies to daycare. And so I was home and able to go get my nails done, do a little bit of work for Balanced Working Mama, catch up on some Grey's Anatomy because I'm I'm not rewatching. Long story short, with Grey's Anatomy, I stopped at like season 14 years ago, and I'm now trying to finish. So I'm currently in season 15, catching up on some of that was really nice. And now Monday, I am getting my locks retwisted, doing a few things to help build our Balanced Working Mama community, and also relaxing. So I'm feeling really good, you all. And if you listen to the previous podcast, you know that our Balanced Working Mama community is coming January 2022. So you will hear me refer to the community often. And when you do, that's what I'm talking about. So my mind is super focused on our community, what we are doing to prepare so that we can officially open our doors for January. And so again, stay tuned because I do have some updates every week on my Instagram. I'll pop on IG Live to provide a community update just to let you know where we're at in terms of building our community. But then also I'll be letting you know of ways that you can actually engage in helping to build this community. Just on my Instagram last week, I had some questions in my IG stories that I asked many of you, and you all gave me so many really good responses. So I thank you and appreciate you all for that so much. You can catch those questions periodically in our IG. What is it called? The story highlight on my Instagram is called Community. And so you can always check that highlight. Anything related to the community will be there, including questions regarding how to help build the community. So go check those out. So with that, I think what I was saying is that I'm providing updates, but also ways for you to engage. And so, for example, questions in my IG stories, but then also soon we will be having some Zoom focus groups where anybody who wants to help contribute to the building of our community, come participate in our focus group on Zoom, and we'll just talk about something that I'm needing help with regard to building the community. So if you would like to participate, volunteer your time for that, I would love it. Stay tuned. I'm going to talk about that on the Instagram, on the email newsletter, on here. So find your favorite way to connect and stay tuned so that you can learn more. All right, let's get into today's episode. Today, we are talking to one of my past Empower Wellness mamas, Tayler, and she is going to be talking about her experiences with mental health. I love talking to mamas specifically about mental health. One, because I am still a clinical psychologist, and with being a clinical psychologist, everything I know is about mental health. And now with Balanced Working Mama, I get to really focus my career on the mental health of working mothers. But we're talking specifically about mental health in particularly her experiences with anxiety, depression, and social anxiety. Tayler worked through the Empower Wellness program last season, and she was able to really make some amazing transformations when it came to her wellness and really doing some really good work for her mental health. So I'm so excited for her and what all's going to come for her now after she's graduated, but also for her to share her story with you. So I hope that this resonates with you all and enjoy. Hey, Mama, I'm so glad you're listening to the podcast, but I also want to connect with you on social media. So be sure to follow me and Balance Working Mama on Instagram. You can find me at Dr. Amber Thornton. That's DrAmberThornton, and Balance Working Mama at Balance Working Mama. BALANCEDWORKINGMAMA. Follow along, join in on the fun, but then also send me a DM to say hello. See you there. Hey, mamas. So we have a very, very, very special guest on the podcast today. She's actually one of our July 2021 Empower Wellness Mamas. And she was so gracious enough to come and speak on the podcast just about her experience at the Empower Wellness program, but also about her particular experience with working through seeking more social support while also dealing with anxiety. So I'm so excited to talk to her on the podcast today. But first, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. So go ahead.
My name is Tayler, but I go by T. I'm a mom of 3. I have 2 girls and a bonus son. And I work in IT field, with medical professionals. So I deal with just computer stuff, pretty much.
Nice. So, T, I'm so glad that you're going to be here talking with us. So first, I'll just say, I really enjoyed working with you in the Empower Wellness program. Yeah. Because one, I think you just did such a great job. Everybody's mama's experience is different. Everybody's mama's. That's not what I meant to say. Everybody. Every mama's experience is different, right? And it's because everybody's working on a different thing. But the one thing I noticed about you was that you really pushed yourself and challenged yourself. You fully committed to being in this program, and you fully committed to your goal. And I just think that's so admirable. I don't even know if I said that word right, but I really admire that in you, just how you jump in and you challenged yourself, you did the scary things, and now you are almost like a total different person. And so we're going to get into that, you actually speaking to how you're different and all that. But first, I want to ask you to tell us what led you to even consider the Empower Wellness program in the first place.
So I was I was struggling a lot with just regular things I was going through as a mom, postpartum and the mom guilt, and just feeling like I couldn't give my kids 100% without lacking in other areas of my life, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So my sister, she did the program, Raven, and she was like, "This will be perfect for you." She was like, "I know, you're not really big on talking to a bunch of people, but this will really help you." I'm like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." I was really nervous, but I really it was well worth it.
Wow.
Well worth it.
And you know what, T, I know that you told us in the group that you were really nervous, but honestly, I couldn't tell. And I know I told you this, I couldn't tell. I could tell that you were really giving it 100% effort. Just in terms of when you would come in the group and you would check in with us and you would tell us how your week was and the things that you worked on in terms of your wellness goal. I could tell you were giving so much effort, but I couldn't tell that you were nervous. I really couldn't.
Really?
No.
I am I don't know what it is when it comes to just socializing in general, even if it's just one-on-one, it always puts my anxiety through the roof. And I just have to, I'm learning now to like just bring myself down and to
Yeah.
just take it in the moment.
Right.
Be in the moment and be present in that moment, and
Mhm.
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to blow up, I'm not going to catch on fire. Like everything will be okay.
Hmm.
And that's honestly what helped me get through it. Like
Yeah.
the first day of the group, whew, I was struggling, but I pushed myself.
You did. You absolutely did. And so you're already speaking to a little bit of what your goal was, but tell us specifically, what did you decide for your wellness goal to be and what did you work on in the group?
My wellness goal was mainly to become more social because I noticed when I became a mom, I completely cut that out of my life.
Hmm.
I I just didn't engage anymore. I just feel like I didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
My kids were my main priority and they needed my 100% attention.
Hmm.
And to also deal with my anxiety that kind of, I think, paired with my social, like me not being social anymore.
Hmm.
So those two things something I really wanted to tackle and focus on. So
Hmm. Yeah. You did a hell of a job, I'm telling you. Um, and it's I love that you're here talking about this because I think what you're saying is so relatable for a lot of moms in a few ways. I think you're definitely not the only one who becomes a mom and just kind of starts to neglect their social life.
yeah,
It's really hard to, become a mom. You have a whole other human that you made, and then you gotta it really does feel like 100% of your time and your energy needs to be devoted to that human, and
yeah,
then somewhere along the way you realize like, oh, but what about me? Or you start to feel lonely, or maybe you start to go through moments and you're like, oh, I don't even have anyone to talk to about this. Things like that start to happen. And so you're absolutely not alone. I know there's so many mamas listening to this right now and they're like, oh yeah, that definitely resonates for me. But then also this other piece, the anxiety that you spoke about. I think that there are probably mamas who are listening who are like, wow, she's speaking to my experience, because there's so many of us out here who experience anxiety, myself included.
yeah,
And we just don't talk about it
yeah,
because I think we're afraid to talk about it. We're afraid of like what it means or what it says about us as mothers. We're ashamed, that
yeah.
we might struggle with anxiety or mental health concerns. And so so many of us just don't openly talk about it. And so that's why I'm so happy and grateful for you. But tell me, I want to talk about the anxiety a little bit, and I wanted to ask you, how does the anxiety or any other mental health concern that you've ever had, how did that show up for you in motherhood?
Mm, for me, the anxiety particularly was very it was tough because I not only had anxiety, I deal with depression.
Hmm.
That in itself, I felt like once I have depression already, and then postpartum hit,
Yeah.
and then the anxiety hit. So it was a big snowball. And I
Mm-hmm.
just see myself not wanting to do certain things, or my kids wanted to go certain places, and I'm like, but I can't. So let's do something
Hmm.
else. And
Hmm.
I noticed
Hmm.
me putting my issues and my anxiety and my
Yeah.
struggles onto my children.
Right.
And I didn't want them to experience that. I wanted them to experience life. Same
Yeah.
things I did when I was a kid. Like I would legitly like go to parks, like they want to go to the park. I would take them at certain times where I knew it was empty, so
Yeah.
they wouldn't interact with other kids and not interact with other parents. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want them to be lonely and not have friends and not experience, friendship.
Yep.
So that was something that I
Yeah.
noticed in, being a mom. And I'm like, and I checked myself and I was like,
Yeah.
I need to get help.
Wow. Ooh, that gives me chills. It really does. Because it just speaks to like, I don't know if this is what it feels like for you, but like it just speaks to how hard it is to be a mom.
Really?
Because you're like, before becoming a parent, we could just deal with our own stuff and not
Yep.
worry about nobody else. Like before becoming a mom, you could just be like, yeah, I'm going to the park at um 11 o'clock at night because I know nobody's gonna be there and just
Exactly.
enjoy your time. But now with kids, you're like, damn, like they really are out here by themselves. It makes me feel comfortable, but it's not really helpful for them. And so
Exactly.
it's tough because you have to start to focus and think about other people while also balancing your own mental health or your own wellness. And that's hard.
Yeah. Listen, That was tough. Like even going to like simple stuff like Target. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she loves Target. That's her favorite store.
As she should. As she
Like,
should.
yes. And I didn't take her there because I'm like, I don't want to go there myself.
Yeah.
So I would go in hours where it was too late for her to go, or it was too early because she was in school. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, I have to like. And our
Yeah.
first trip, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make it the whole way through. Like I
Mm.
couldn't finish my shopping list. I'm like, I'm worried about her.
Yeah.
She wants to roam and explore, but I'm too focused on if anything happens to her, everything happens to me. People are watching me. People are judging me. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
anxiety is doing to me. It's making me
Yeah.
feel like I'm all eyes are on me, and
Yeah.
nobody's worried about me.
Nobody.
Like nobody's even care. Like nobody even knows that I'm there,
Mm-hmm.
probably. But
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it, and
Mm-hmm.
now we be in there.
Girl, y'all be in there. Look, I love it. Oh my gosh. And so, but I think you're speaking to such a
Mhm.
good point. So the other piece that I really admire is the awareness that you had about all this. Because I think it's also really easy to just not even recognize that your anxiety is starting to impact the development of your children. But you recognized it, and then you had the desire to do something different, even though it was hard. So I just again commend you on that. It just really shows, that you're dedicated to this, and you really showed up for yourself and your children.
Yeah,
But from the mental health piece, I do want to say, like, for anyone who's listening to this, anxiety is hard. And exactly what
yes,
T was saying, like, anxiety leads you to believe a lot of things that are really untrue.
yep,
So for instance, T, in those moments, anxiety was leading you to believe that everyone was looking at you and judging you, or
mhm,
anxiety was leading you to believe that something bad was going to happen to you or your kid if you leave the house, or anxiety was leading you to think that people were maybe talking about you, just all these things that more likely are just untrue.
mhm,
And again, I'll share a tiny glimpse of my experience of anxiety. I have a tiny bit of social anxiety, not as much as yours, but my
yeah,
anxiety really popped up a lot around postpartum and my health. And I think I've been a little transparent about this on social media, but I had postpartum preeclampsia. So
mhm.
my blood pressure was high. And so my anxiety went through the roof.
Oh man,
And so it just, again, anxiety was leading to me to believe that I was going to die, or, that something really bad was going to happen to me if I leave the house, or, that at any moment my blood pressure might spike and something bad will happen to me. And those things never happened,
right? Oh
but
my goodness, I can
know,
imagine though.
yeah, but that's what anxiety does. And so I'm glad that we're able to give two different examples of how anxiety can manifest,
Yeah,
because it manifests in so many ways. And I know there's some mamas who are listening to this and their anxiety really manifests in them not feeling trusting in terms of like letting their kids enter the world, right?
yep,
Or just, trusting their own ability to take care of their kids. They're really afraid that something's going to happen to their kids. Those are other forms of anxiety that can really enter into motherhood. And so, what it requires of us, and what I think you did such a good job of, is really challenging the thoughts that come up with anxiety, because 99% of the time, our anxious mind and our anxious thoughts are very untrue.
yeah.
They're the worst case scenarios.
They're so exaggerated.
Yeah, they're
That's
so
why.
exaggerated. Yeah. And I mean, maybe one of them might happen like one out of 1,000 times, but the likelihood is that these far-fetched, things that we're imagining because of our anxiety are just not true.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm hoping that someone's listening to this and they're like, whoa, I can resonate with this, I relate to this. And again, thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
And I'll say the same thing about depression. Depression is very similar. In that it leads you to believe that there's no hope,
Yep.
that things will never get better.
Yep.
It leads us to see things as very dark, very negative, and it's really hard to fight against that, and especially when you're a mom. So You
Yeah.
know, again, these things are not easy. But I do want to ask you, what helped you the most in terms of seeking out more social support? Because that's a big goal for someone who had social anxiety. Um, what really helped you in really seeking out more social support?
For me, I'm gonna say, hmm, I guess that's kind of, I don't want to say it's hard to answer, but
Mhm.
it's like, this is hard. I don't want to get emotional.
Mhm. Well, take your time. Take your time. And if you need to get emotional, that's fine too, because we completely understand. Or if you need a minute, just let me know.
um,
But we understand.
Mainly it was just I seen. Actually, question again. Let me gather myself.
Mhm.
All right,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, what was most helpful for you as you sought out more social support? Because again, I'll say, um, you could have chose another goal. you know, you could have
Basically, yeah.
chosen to work on something else, but you, as someone who had anxiety, and you still do, we're not going to pretend like you don't have anxiety anymore.
Right. No.
You, as someone who has anxiety and social anxiety, you decided to work on social support, which is big. And so what helped you the most as you sought out more social support?
Trusting the process.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting the fact that I can be vulnerable,
Yeah.
but it'll lead me to the path that I want to be on.
Mm.
Because again, like with the anxiety and the depression and everything that going on, I seen life as gray. Like I like driving a car. The trees didn't look as vibrant. The clouds wasn't blue. The
Mm-hmm.
sky wasn't like it wasn't. It didn't look beautiful to me.
Mm.
So I needed to trust that I can feel better and I can
Yeah.
get to a point where I knew I was before. Like it doesn't happen overnight, and I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Before I didn't believe that I could get better,
Mm.
but putting the trust that and just put myself out there
Yeah.
that I need to get better, not just for myself, not just for my family, but for my mental health,
Yeah.
because that was affecting other aspects of my life, my physical health,
Yeah.
like just my not being able to. I literally couldn't physically work anymore because I mentally couldn't do it.
Mm.
So I needed to trust myself, trust the process, and just give it my honest best foot forward.
Mm. Wow.
Like that. Yeah.
That was it. That was the big part of it. Yeah, you trusted the process. You absolutely did that because, and again, especially with anxiety and depression,
Mm.
anxiety and depression was probably telling you, like, girl, what you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
Listen, I always, so this is what I call my depression was a big fuzzy warm blanket. It
Mm,
was so comfortable.
yep,
It did not, it said, lay down, go to sleep, take a nap
yep.
all the time,
Mm,
all day, every day. Take a nap, relax. Don't
wow.
do that. Don't focus on that. Don't talk to
Mm,
anybody. You need nothing but me.
wow.
That's how it was for
Wow.
years.
Wow.
Isolated myself, my family, my friends, and nobody know that they noticed it, but I always made an excuse for it. They
Yeah.
didn't know why.
Yep.
I was ignoring it. I just think, maybe I'm just tired. I was tired all the time.
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't be like, I'm not sleepy. Like it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Why am I sleepy?
Yep.
Like, so yeah, like
Wow.
how
That's
can
deep.
it? Yeah, like I don't know. Like
That's super deep. And it just makes me think again, I think there's somebody that's listening that's going to be so grateful for you because it's making me think there's a lot of women, especially Black women, who are out there who think they're just tired when really they might be depressed,
yep,
or maybe they think like, oh, I just don't want to do that thing, but really it's anxiety.
yep,
Telling them not to. And we just don't recognize these things. And then other people don't recognize them within us, but really it's mental health. that's like keeping us stuck or holding us back. And
Absolutely.
we have to trust, whatever help that we, decide to accept. For you, it was the Empower Wellness Program. Like, we have to trust that these things can be helpful, but also like choose to, how do I say this? Like, you have to choose to do something different.
Exactly.
Because for you, for so long, you were just putting on that big fuzzy blanket because
Yep.
it was
Yep.
comfortable. But that fuzzy blanket was depression. And
Mhm.
that's not what we want for you or your life
Mhm.
or your kids. And so you chose to do something different and then trust the process, even when depression was telling you it was a bad idea, or even when anxiety was telling you it was a bad idea.
It's, my husband will offer me tips like, why don't you go for a walk? Why
Mhm.
don't you go to the gym? Why don't you like just go sit outside in the sun?
Yeah.
Vitamin D helps. I'm like, no. I had every excuse. It was an excuse for everything as to why I couldn't do it.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't feel well today. I felt perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
my mental health was telling me I was sick. And it was physically making me sick.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I don't want to. And then one day, I honestly was just like, you know what? Because it got so bad, I stopped working.
Wow.
I took a break from work and I was
Yeah.
like, I can't mentally take anymore. Because
Mhm.
if I do, I'm gonna snap. And I can't do that. I have so many people dependent on me. I
Mhm.
can't just give up.
Yep. Yep.
So I just like, I'm gonna take that chance. And I reached out, I found the therapist, I told my doctor,
Mhm.
and it was so hard.
Yeah.
But everybody always says that's the bravest thing you could possibly do is
Yeah.
ask for help.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
I
'Cause
felt scared and weak and shy. I just felt like I was just like weak for doing that. But ultimately, I don't feel weak. I feel so like empowered. I feel brave. I feel strong now.
yep.
The fact that I did those steps.
Yes. And for you, you also were doing something that I love when mamas do. We do have a lot of mamas in the program who are in therapy and they participate in the Empower Wellness program, because both are really helpful, especially at the
Yes.
same time. Because it's like with the therapy, you can work specifically on the anxiety and depression and the mental health stuff. And then with the Empower Wellness program, you get to work on the things that are related to or caused by the condition of motherhood. Like,
Yes.
and like figure that out from that perspective. So I imagine for you, like doing both of those was like a game changer for sure.
It blew my mind. Some days therapy, would be rough because it will pull some things out that I wasn't ready
Mm-hmm.
for.
Mm-hmm.
And then even some days on my empowerment program, I would pull some things out that sometimes I would say it and I'm like, in my head, my anxiety is like, you should have said that. You should have said that. But then I'm like, no, I needed to say that because somebody could have used that.
Yep.
It probably helped someone else.
And it did.
Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's
Yep. Wow.
every little thing has been helping me.
Yeah.
Every little thing.
So tell me, what did you enjoy about the Empower Wellness program the most? Because I know I love so much of it, and I know different mamas have their different experiences about it. But what did you love the most, or what was your favorite part about the program?
This is going to sound crazy because I was so anxious the first day, but just like the icebreaker was my favorite
Really?
part. Yeah.
Oh,
Because it helped me see and realize I'm not by myself.
yes.
I'm not alone in everything that's in my head.
Mhm.
Other moms are saying the same things. I'm like, because I was isolated myself because I felt like I was the only person going through these problems.
Mhm.
Nobody else can understand what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
But hearing the icebreaker and hearing the other mamas saying, what their issues are, what they want to deal with,
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, that's on my checklist. That's on my checklist. Like, oh wow, we can relate.
Mhm.
I finally felt relatable in
Wow.
life as a
Yeah.
mom.
Wow.
Finally, yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love that. And so it sounds like for the icebreaker for you, it helped you to feel relatable to other moms. And so it was like being able to share and hearing them share was really validating.
yeah.
And it like normalized so much for you. And also started to build that sense of community of like, yeah, I belong here.
That's when I ended it, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it.
Yes. And it's so awesome. And this is why that's why I'm like, therapy and this too are the both of them are really good together. Because we know that when we have anxiety and depression, community is really healing.
Yes.
validation is extremely healing. Normalizing someone's experiences, all of those are ingredients that really can help to manage
Absolutely.
depression and anxiety. And so I love that that was your favorite part. And you
Yeah.
know what? It's funny that I feel, thinking back to the icebreaker for you, you really like you shared a lot. And so that's why I was like, how was she nervous? Like I couldn't tell. Because you really were just like, you really like gave us your all in that first day. And I was like, damn, she's good. She's good. She's comfortable.
I'm not gonna lie. Before I hit that link on the Zoom, like I was like, I should just quit and just not do it at all. Like I was like this close to like, I'm just not gonna do it. And I was like, no, you're doing this for a reason.
Yep.
You know, pull your britches up
Yes.
and you'll be fine. And it worked out like
It
perfectly, honestly. Like
is. Oh my gosh. So tell us, how are you doing now? Because it's been, at this point, it's been 7 or 8 weeks, I believe, since we started the program. You are all done. You've completed it. How are things going for you now? How are you different from who you were 2 months ago?
it's like I look in the mirror, I see a different person. When I used to look in the mirror before, because around me joining the program, I kind of I was only in therapy for honestly maybe a month or so. If that's I was just bringing her to my therapist, so it was still kind of new. I
Mm-hmm.
was still kind of new on just expressing the fact that I have a problem and I want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking in the mirror, not happy with what I was seeing on the inside or outside. I
Wow.
wasn't happy with myself as a person, as a mom, as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like just coming from that point in my life, it was so pivotal
Mm.
because I literally feel like I'm at a 180 right now.
Wow.
Like I look in the mirror, I smile at myself. Like I told you I had like these mantras all over my house and on whiteboards and on mirrors, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually read those and like take it in,
Yeah.
and I feel so much better. I go out now. I stayed out. I told you I stayed
Yeah.
out.
Y'all, she stayed out and had no guilt about it. She did an overnight without her kids. She was not guilty, and she had a
Yes.
good old time.
I'm back being active. I work out 5 days a week now.
Wow.
Yes, like when I tell you, I
Wow.
just look at life so much differently. Like I'm enjoying life. It's
Mm,
not being and like that blanket is under
gone.
the bed. Yes. It's gone. Like it's nowhere present right now. Like and then even the times where I do feel like because my depression is still there, my anxiety is still there,
Mhm.
but I know how to manage it more better now. Like I notice like when I do come in those moods, I accept it for what it is in that moment. I acknowledge it
Mhm.
and I am like, okay, I'm gonna take you in this moment, but you're not gonna stay here.
Ooh, yes.
We have to move forward. And
Yeah.
I've been moving forward.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited. And you're doing one of the tools that I love the most to teach people about like anxiety, about depression, about guilt, is like talking back to it. And it
Yep.
seems like you do that now frequently. Like you said, if you are in a low mood, you accept it. You're like, all right, it's fine, but you're not gonna be here all day, or you're not gonna completely run the show. But and because I think
Exactly.
you're speaking to a really great point. For many people, there might not be 100% cure for depression and anxiety. It doesn't mean that it's going to feel as heavy as it has always been,
Right.
but the goal is to learn how to manage it a little bit more. So you are going to have days and moments that don't feel ideal. That's
Yeah,
life. That's normal. But now you know how to manage it so much differently, and that
exactly.
is the key.
Exactly. Like I've noticed times where I feel overwhelmed just with like life, mom stuff. Like a
Mhm.
pile of laundry is piling up.
Mhm.
And you before that laundry will
Mhm.
put me in a 2 week depression where I wouldn't get out the bed just over
Mhm.
laundry. And
Yeah.
for some people, it seems so simple, but for me, my whole world just shattered because I didn't do that because
Yes.
I didn't take care of that when I needed to be taken care of in that moment.
Yeah.
I feel like I failed just over laundry.
Yeah.
But now I'll see a laundry pile like, let me get to you later. I got stuff to
Right.
do. Like
Like we gotta go to Target.
I want to go out. I want to go for a walk. Like I'm putting myself and my happiness forward and
Yes.
first.
Yes.
Because if I'm not happy, my children see that. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's so like, we're here.
Yeah.
Like she came to me one day before I started this. She was like, Mama, are you happy? That broke
Wow.
my heart because I wasn't.
Wow.
We're sitting there coloring, we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was not there mentally. I checked out. I'm doing it because she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, Mommy, are you happy? I'm just
Mm.
like, yeah, I'm okay. She's like, can I have a hug? And it
Wow.
wasn't for her, it was for me.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's when I knew I needed help. I needed help
yeah. Yep.
because I couldn't let her continue seeing me like that.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. That when I tell you, yeah.
That gives me chills and almost brings tears to my eyes because,
Yeah, seriously.
as you know, I have Eden now. I have a little girl, and I was always nervous about that because I just feel like, little girls are so perceptive. Boys are too. But I get the sense that, with my daughter Eden, she's gonna be looking in my soul in
Yes.
moments when I don't want her to.
Okay.
And it's even more incentive, like you said, like these kids see us. They might not know how to speak to it or ask the right questions, but they know how we feel. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like it is our responsibility to really take care of ourselves. And I think this is why I love working with millennial moms, because I think before, our moms, in their time, the priority was do what you need to do for the kids
Yep.
and forget about yourself. That
Exactly.
was what it meant to be a good mother. And we
Mm-hmm.
had good mothers because that's what they did. They
Yes.
put us first and forgot about themselves. But now things are so different because now we live in a time where that just doesn't work as well as it did before. And so we can't
Right.
just put our kids first and forget about ourselves, because our kids be looking at us like, but are you happy?
Exactly.
And it's just like, oh, I don't want to traumatize my child by allowing them to see an unhappy mother, you know?
Exactly.
And
I
so
can't
it,
put my load onto them. And that's what I feel like I
oh,
was doing.
yeah,
Putting all
absolutely.
my heavy baggage on little children that's so innocent. They don't
Yep.
understand what's going on. They don't understand what depression is.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand why mommy's sad because I was just laughing with you. But now why are you looking sad?
Yeah.
They don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely. Like
Yep.
the work needs to be done.
Absolutely. And again, and I want to make sure I speak to this very delicate piece. It's like, what we're not saying is do what you need to do to make sure that you're not depressed or that you don't have anxiety, because we still out here depressed and anxious. Like,
Okay.
some of us still have those things, but what we're saying is do what you need to do to take care of yourself, because that is what's going to allow you to have a better life, but then also your children as well. As you take care of yourself, if you do have mental health challenges, you can then learn to accept your mental health, but then also learn how to manage it. And then you can teach your children how to manage theirs, but also you can serve as a model and teach your children, like, hey, not every day is going to be easy.
Yep.
And this is what we do about it. Or you can even start to communicate to your children about, you know what, yeah, mommy does feel sad today.
Yep.
And this is what I'm doing about it. And I'm hoping that tomorrow will be better. Something like that. We don't have to conceal ourselves. We don't always have to be happy. That is not
Exactly.
reality.
Exactly.
No, but what we're saying is, like, really do what you need to do to take care of yourself is what we're saying for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm practicing what I preach. My daughter
Mm-hmm.
sometimes comes home and
Mm-hmm.
I know she had a rough day. Whether
Mm-hmm.
she was a little too tired today or just
Mm-hmm.
didn't have like she just wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
And I asked her, are you okay? And she was like, no, mommy, it's a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, let's
Yeah.
watch a movie, get some popcorn. Let's have a day together where I'm helping you feel better. Like, how can I help make you feel better?
Yes.
And it helps her tap into that emotion, let her know it's okay to not be happy and go lucky every day because you're not going to be.
Absolutely.
You need to do self-care
Mm-hmm.
to get there. Like to get, yeah. So
This is so good, T. Like, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So I have like one last question for you. Well, maybe two. But I want to ask you, if there is a mama who's listening right now and she's also struggling with anxiety or depression, or struggling with like feeling isolated from a social support, what tips might you have for her?
so first things first, I always say I've learned give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I didn't understand at first. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm gonna give yourself grace. But like, I don't understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally means stop, don't judge yourself so critically, because you're your biggest critic at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And judging yourself so harshly, it's not, I'm not gonna say it's hindering your process, but it's holding you back from a lot of opportunities to learn yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
understand yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
to get to another path, another goal, or another step in life that you want to get to.
Yeah.
Because you're holding yourself back by being so critical and over analytical of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main things I've learned and I've taken and I've been doing. I said I practice what I preach now. So and then also besides, giving yourself grace, I've learned like you said, like we just said, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Take take it in that moment, like I said, acknowledge it,
Mm-hmm.
accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you keep fighting against that,
Yep.
I've noticed we keep fighting against your depression, keep fighting against your anxiety, keep fighting against it. You're focused on that now. That's all you see.
Yeah.
And you can't get out of that. You can't. You're digging your hole even deeper. You're going
Exactly.
deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last one was so cliche. It's a marathon. It's not a race.
I love that.
It that's my favorite thing to say, like to myself. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It takes steps. Even if your goal is the tiniest goal, to
Mm-hmm.
wake up in the morning and smile. My first goal was to look in the mirror and smile at myself because I was not smiling at myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do like it. Like I had it's habit now to
Yeah.
look in the mirror and smile. Like and people always say you're always smiling. You're always smiling at other people.
Yeah.
Other people, but I look at myself, I don't see a smile in the mirror. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to take that same smile that I'm giving to other people to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. Oh my gosh. T, thank you so much. This was so inspiring and full of wisdom. And I just know that it's going to help another mama tremendously. So just thank you for your courage to show up for yourself, for your children, for us, and sharing
you're
your
welcome.
experience. Like it was a pleasure. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My last question for you. And I know you're not on social media, but what if a mom want to connect with you? How can she reach out to you? I was
I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there. I'm not there just yet with social media, but even email, phone call, I don't mind. I'm not that person. I do not mind at all. You want to reach out to me about anything? I'm so transparent
Mhm.
because I know this is something I dealt with alone for so long, and I didn't want to do it alone. I just
Yeah.
didn't know how to ask for help. So reach out to my phone or email. I don't mind. I really don't.
Well, what we'll do, we'll put your email in the show notes. And so if there is a mama who wants to connect with you, she can reach out to you. Or if you all have trouble with her email, y'all can connect with me and I will connect you with T for sure. Absolutely. So there's definitely
Perfect.
ways. Yeah. Well, T, I want to thank you again so much. You are so wise, such a good mama. Also just such a really great person to connect with. So I thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. I appreciate the whole entire journey, the process, because this journey is not ending for me. So I appreciate everything, Dr. Amber. I really do.
Oh, you're so welcome. Hey, Mama. Thank you for listening to the Balanced Working Mama podcast. If you love this podcast, please be sure to rate it and share it with another mama that you know. And don't forget to follow me and Balanced Working Mama on Instagram. I'll talk to you soon.